Hi, this is Dave Consumer again. I just wanted to show how to get everything installed on a handheld Linux device. Like I did one on Steam, so this is just for non-Steam devices. Most of these things, they run EmulationStation. And so if you go to the repo and you go to the devices.md, you can read more about it, but essentially we're just going to set that up. So on this particular device, this is a R. I forget what it is. R36 Max. I got like the different colors even like cost different prices, but I got it on sale for like $40 for like the cheapest color. And you can find these all over. It doesn't need to be this specific device. The main trick though is when you first get it, it has like some old operating system on it, and you probably want to update it. So I like Arc OS, and more recently there's Dark OS, which is like the Debian-based version of Arc OS. And so get that set up, and basically if you search for Arc OS for clone, it's a particular repo that's like tailored towards like getting Dark and Arc OS to work exactly with these devices. And there's a whole bunch of like weird clone devices. Arc OS itself or Dark OS, it basically just supports like a few Anbernic devices. So if it's not one of those, if it's one of these like cheap clones, then use this Arc OS for clone. Okay, so once you get your operating system installed, you'll have it on an SD card, and there's a couple options. You can, on this particular device, it has two SD card slots, and so one of the options is to like set up one SD card for ROMs and one SD card for like the operating system. And that's what I did, just because I like keeping it separate, so I can update just the operating system or just mess with my ROMs, and I keep them separate enough so that I can edit things on the ROM disk really easily, and it'll survive through different OS installations. Okay, so once you figured out how you're going to do that, if you use one disk, if you pop that SD card into your computer, it should pop up, and one of the partitions will be this. If you use two, then it's whichever one has all these ROM folders. And on Dark OS, I had to go into the settings. I went into like utils and tools, and on the device, it has like an option to use a ROMs 2 SD card, and that enables like having two SD cards basically. Okay, so once you have a ROMster that's all set up with all your ROMs, and this actually came with it, and it had like a ton of ROMs, which is totally illegal, but if you if you set it up, what we're trying to do is first we need to set up the scripts for ports like this, and I'll just delete these so you can see exactly what we're doing on the fly. So if you go to the latest release here, go to the latest release and grab examples, and then you want to grab like one of the runtimes. And so in this situation, I'm going to use the SDL one because that's the best for this particular device. The reason is it doesn't have like proper kernel level drivers for acceleration, which would be the DRM stuff. And I don't want to use X Windows because that eats up like some processing power. I want to use as much as I can for poketrack. So anyway, that leaves SDL. They have this weird hacked up version of SDL that they modified, and I don't think they even really documented it. And that's what this is, or that's what this works with. So it just runs on top of it and sort of pretends that everything's like standard, even though it's not really. So I download that. And if we look at these two files, there's, here, I'll delete this. This is an old extraction. So we've got these two files. If you look at examples, it's got a bunch of stuff in it. Themes are just different themes you can use. If you rename it to theme.ptt, it'll be the default theme when it loads, and so you can load any one of these as the default, and that just makes it a little easier. Beats are some ready-made patterns that you can load, so that can be handy for making songs and stuff. And then this is a small SF2 sound font that is a good start for most things. And you don't really need these RPT files. They're just kind of like examples. But I would recommend the plugins. So anyway, if we're going to grab all this, let's grab plugins, themes, beats, and this. And so I would grab these ones and copy, and then go to your SD card. And what we need is a folder called poketrack. This is going to be the starting folder for whatever's in here. Now I already built up a poketrack, so I would just paste it right here, right? But I already built up a folder that has other stuff in it, like other SFZ sound fonts and things like that. This is for a friend, right? So I got more stuff in there. But anyway, this is where you put it, and if it's in the poketrack folder, it'll work. And then the last thing is we need to set up ports. So let's open up another folder here. And if we look at our downloads, we've got just one file here. Well, the way that it works is inside ports, we want to have a folder called poketrack. So I'm just going to rename this parent to poketrack and drag that over. And then we need an entry script, which is like the script that you actually run. And here, I'll show you how to do that. So if you go into ports, I have a couple scripts in there. This one's only for Wi-Fi, so if you don't have a dongle or anything, then this isn't really going to be useful. All we really need is this poketrack. So if we go here and, oops. You know what? I'm actually going to pull this whole repo just because I think I do want both scripts, and it's probably just faster. So I'll grab the whole thing, and I'll go into ports. Just right here. And I'll grab these two scripts. And then on the disk, I'll go into ports, and I'll stick them in there. So the way this works is it calls poketrack, it calls this script, it'll list this script, and then this script calls this poketrack runtime. Now the reason I do it that way is because you have to kind of wrap it a little bit, and I'll show you some tricks to make it work even better. And then again, this one's optional. If you have Wi-Fi, go ahead, but if you don't really need it. It doesn't matter. So let's see, let's look at this for a sec. So all right, so there's a bunch of stuff in here. I don't even know if I need this part. I'm not sure if I do. I needed it for something else, for like text mode input with the joystick, but I don't think it's necessary if you have this line right here. I think everything basically works. If it works with a joystick, it'll work. But this is also where you would set up your like any other mapping that you want to do. Like you can override for just one device, that kind of thing. You can do this sort of thing. But it's also where you put the CLI options. And for this particular device, it has a square screen, so the default is all letterboxed. It has like black on either side, and it's not so good. So square would be better. So let's set it to the exact size, and yeah, so we've got width and height. Now if you look in the README, you'll see there's some other CLI flags. You can use whatever you want. You can see I'm using full screen, which triggers the full screen. I don't think that's really needed on these devices because SDL is going to be full screen no matter what. But it's good for like a Steam Deck, for example, because it'll throw it into full screen mode. But yeah, so and then there's the theme file. If you wanted to like not use the default file name, which is theme.ptt, if you wanted to like I don't know, load different themes on the fly, this is relative to the start directory, which is that poketrack folder that is at the top level of your ROMs, right? So you could say dash dash theme themes slash Minecraft .ptt, and that would use the other file instead. Anyway, so we've got this. Great. I think that's all we need. So okay, again, looking at ports. This is our structure. So I just edited poketrack.sh, and then you got this subfolder that just has one thing in it, and that's the actual runtime. Okay, so now you extract your disk and you run it on the device, and it should show up under your different ROM categories. It should be under ports, and you'll see poketrack. On this one, you would also see update, but again, that's optional. So you'll see poketrack. You run that, and it'll run in 720 by 720 with whatever options you put in here, and it'll run. The workdir is right here. At least for this device, it has 2 ROM sets, so it tries this first, and that will succeed, so it'll just stop there. Yeah, that should be it. If you have any issues or questions or anything, feel free to make issues on GitHub. I don't mind at all. So just whatever you need there, I'll try and help as best I can. All right, have fun.